We all make choices every single day, right? But how do we know we're actually making the good ones? Well, today we're breaking down a really powerful framework for making consistently better decisions.
Okay, let's just start with a feeling I think we all know way too well, that sinking feeling when you realize you've made the wrong choice. Maybe it was a career move, a big purchase, or a personal commitment. We've all been there, wishing for a do-over. But here's the thing, and it's actually really good news. Making a bad choice usually isn't some kind of personal flaw. Nope. It's often just because our minds fall into these really predictable traps. Our brains love taking shortcuts, and while that's often useful, it can seriously backfire when the stakes are high.
So what exactly are these traps? Well, according to Chip and Dan Heath, the authors of the book Decisive, there are 4 main culprits that consistently sabotage our choices. They call them the 4 villains of decision-making. All right, so first you've got this narrow frame where we only see a choice as black or white. Then, boom, confirmation bias kicks in, and we start looking for anything that proves our gut feeling was right all along. Then you mix in a little short-term emotion, letting how we feel right now cloud our judgment, and top it all off with a heavy dose of overconfidence about the future. I mean, it's a perfect storm for a bad decision, right? But don't worry, there is a powerful way to fight back.
Okay, so how do we actually take on these villains? The solution is this really memorable 4-step process. It's called WRAP. And the big idea here, the really crucial thing, is that this isn't about trying to predict the future. It's about having a much, much better process. You can think of each letter in WARP as a secret weapon, designed specifically to take down one of those villains we just talked about. So let's walk through them one by one and see how this whole thing works to get us from bias and uncertainty to clarity and confidence.
All right, first up, why? This stands for Widen Your Options. This is our direct attack on that first villain, the narrow frame.
So here's the deal. Anytime you catch your brain thinking, should I do this or that? That's a huge red flag. That's a narrow frame. The trick is to force yourself, literally force yourself to find a third option. So instead of just job A or job B, you gotta ask, wait a minute, what could job C possibly look like? It's such a simple shift, but it totally cracks open your thinking.
Okay, next up, we're gonna get a 2-for-1. We're tackling confirmation bias and short-term emotion at the same time. And this is where the R and the A come into play. Reality test your assumptions and attain some distance from all those feelings.
Look, instead of just jumping in and making some huge, irreversible commitment based on a hunch, the idea here is to run a small experiment. Find a low-cost, low-risk way to pilot your idea. It could be an A/B test if you're in business, or maybe just a weekend project to see if you even like a new career path. The point is, you're looking for real-world data, not just stuff that makes you feel good about what you already believe.
And for attaining distance from those, those overwhelming emotions, just ask yourself this one simple question. Seriously, it's like a magic trick for cutting through the mental fog. I mean, think about it. We give our friends such great level-headed advice, right? This is just about learning how to turn that same wisdom back on ourselves.
And that brings us to the final letter, P, for prepare to be wrong. This step is all about fighting our own natural overconfidence. Because, let's be honest, we're all pretty terrible at predicting the future. So the smartest thing you can do is just plan for that uncertainty.
And one of the coolest tools for this is something called a tripwire. It's basically a preset signal that forces you to stop and check in. So for example, you might say, okay, if our user signups don't hit 1,000 in 3 months, we pause and rethink everything. See? That simple little rule saves you from just blindly pushing forward because of ego or momentum. It's your own personal early warning system. Okay, so this is where the WRA framework goes from being just a useful tool to a genuine superpower when you turn the whole process into a daily habit. The authors call this decision hygiene, which I think is a great term. And these aren't just big, abstract ideas. These are things you can do every day, like assigning a devil's advocate on your team that directly fights confirmation bias. Just taking a pause before you commit to something big that helps you attain distance. When you start building these small habits, the whole WRP process just becomes second nature. And really, this is the main thing I want you to walk away with. We tend to think great decisions are about some kind of innate genius or just plain old luck. But the truth is, better decision-making is a skill. It is not a gift. It's something anyone, and I mean anyone, can get better at with a solid process. So here's my challenge to you. Don't just let this be another interesting idea you heard. Think of one, just
one decision you're facing right now, big or small, how can you apply RAP to it? Widen your options, reality test them, attain some distance, and prepare to be wrong. Seriously, start today and turn this whole process into your own decision-making superpower.